Good morning. Happy Monday. I was asked why I don't make my own trifold, and there's two real basic reasons. Number one is because the ACLU has already done a trifold like thing that you can put in your wallet, and it's made by attorneys. It gives you basic common sense advice about what to do in specific scenarios. It's broadly written enough that it's probably applicable to most jurisdictions. The other reason is because I don't think that they're particularly useful. If you don't already know the information, sticking it in your pocket or attaching it to your visor, you're not going to want to read a trifold while you're dealing with a cop. And it's already too late at that point. If you don't already know it, it's too late. So there's like, when is this actually going to be useful kind of situation? Number one, ACLU already did it. Number two, it's probably not useful. But one thing you should note is the ACLU had lawyers right there. So unlike Colin's, theirs isn't pure shit. Colin's, in case anybody missed it, because Colin apparently is under the impression that I didn't think that his particular production of his version of the trifold was shit. It is shit. It is pure shit. It is useless. It is more harmful than good. And I do not approve of it in any way, shape, or form. The whole point of my stream was to look at it and show how shitty it was. Colin, I have less respect for Colin than I do for Chili. Because Chili believes in what he's doing. He's wrong. He's dumb. He's a moron. He's ineffective, but he believes in what he's doing. He actually thinks that Terry v. Ohio is an issue, and he is moving in a direction. And I can understand that. People disagree with other people all the time about these particular kinds of political decisions, political ideologies, and that's great. Congratulations, but Chili's a believer. At least I believe that Chili's a believer. Colin is a grifting piece of shit. He's a liar who lies. I don't like him. I've never liked him. I've never endorsed him. I never will endorse him. He's a piece of shit. And his trifold is a piece of shit. Chili's trifold was also a piece of shit. But Chili's trifold actually managed to mention all cases that exist. They might not have been on point, but they exist. He might not have understood them, but they exist. Colin, on the other hand, fucking made up cases. So, he's blaming it on ChatGPT, but even then, like, you produced it. It is your responsibility. You can't even take the 10 seconds to verify a particular citation is a valid citation. Not even that the case said what he wanted it to say, but that the case existed in the fucking first place. You know what I mean? Terrible. He's a terrible human being. And I'm not one of these people, I'm anti-Chili, so if you're anti-Chili, then we're friends. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not really anti-Chili. I just show how he fails. But I am anti-Colin, because Colin is a grifting piece of shit. So, anyway. So, one of the things, even if Colin had managed to get all valid citations, there are other problems. Most of the law that gets enforced is not federal law. Most of the law is state law. 9 times out of 10, I pulled that number out of my ass. But generally speaking, you're going to get encountered by state police, like sheriff's deputies, police officers, state troopers. You're going to get encountered by state police, by police who are enforcing state laws. I'm using law enforcement. You're going to get encountered by law enforcement that are enforcing state laws. And so each state has their own interpretation of their laws, their own jurisprudence on what is and isn't constitutional, on how their particular statutes, or if they're using common law crimes, then how those particular common law crimes are or are not constitutional. And so you would really have to make at least 50 of these, one for each state, plus an extra one for federal, and then, any other jurisdictions out there that are in the U.S. Like, here's your American Samoa version, right? But even then, like, so for example, he had Glick versus Knief for the mistaken proposition that you have some sort of an absolute right to film the police whenever you're dealing with them, right? Oh, you're in handcuffs? Well, no, they have to take you out of the handcuffs to allow you to film the police. Oh, you're already in prison? No, they got to let you film them while you're in prison. It's stupid. And he ignores the part of the ruling that case is most often cited for. But even that case is no longer, like, I'm not going to say it's not valid, but that case has been modified by subsequent cases. I don't remember all their names, but there was Gierke, there was Project Veritas, there was another one that was very recent. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there have been subsequent cases. So Colin thinks that Gierke versus Knief is like defining. I mean, that's the end of it. But the First Circuit didn't think so. The First Circuit is continuing to revise this case law as new situations pop up, as new things have to get dealt with, as new state laws are getting dealt with. And this is just one circuit. So how the First Circuit deals with it is not necessarily how the Ninth Circuit is going to deal with it. It's not necessarily how the Fifth Circuit is going to deal with it, or the Sixth Circuit, or the 10th Circuit. I mean, the reason... Trying to cite cases for these propositions is going to misinform the reader. There's just no way around it. Because the case that you cite might stand for a proposition, but that proposition changes over time. It changes in response to fact patterns. It is a very complicated thing that stupid people are trying to make blanket statements about, because blanket statements, bright line rules, are easy for people to understand. But that's not the way the law works. That's not the way these things work. These are complicated issues that are very fact intensive. You have to understand the underlying facts. That you have to understand what the underlying laws are, statutes, common law, regulations, whatever. You have to be able to apply the principles in the existing case law to the facts and the law in order to get an idea of how a court is going to come out on it. But just because you have an idea on how the court is going to come out on it doesn't mean that's how the court's going to come out on it. That's why cases get overturned. Case law gets overturned. That's why we have circuit splits where the Ninth Circuit says X and the Second Circuit says Y. That's why we have these things. So it is not an endeavor that can be successfully accomplished. And I have not endorsed Colin's work. Colin believes that he's going to be able to refine it based on my criticisms, bring it back to me, and then eventually, with enough criticism and enough time, he's going to have it refined to the point where it's going to be useful. The problem is that it's like an alchemist trying to turn lead into gold. It's not something that is actually possible to do, to turn lead into gold. His first iteration was him just taking a crap into the pot and saying, look, I made gold. And I looked at it and I said, no, you didn't. What I'm telling you is that you will never make gold out of lead. You will never be able to cite a case for a complex proposition like your right to film the police, when you have it, where you have it, what modifications are, what a reasonable time manner is, what a reasonable place manner is, what a reasonable manner restriction is. It is an impossibility. It won't be done. So, Colin, you will always fail, but you should be used to that because that's your track record to this point, is always failing. Thank you for watching and have a great day.